Hey, Mike.
Good morning.
So I hear you, but I can't see you today for some reason. What's going on?
Oh, hold on. I gotta say,
Oh, there you are.
this. Hey,
Man, you're all
just
dressed
one
up
little
today.
turn to the right. Hey,
You're all dressed up. You look good, buddy. What's going on?
happy first Saturday in May. You know what this means? First Saturday in May,
Oh,
the
the
running
Derby.
of the Kentucky Derby.
Kentucky Derby. Yeah. I knew that.
Yeah. So I'm dressed for the Derby. Got a little event going on later today. Gonna meet a bunch of new people for the very first time. I thought I would make I guess, I don't know, mafioso impression. I'm not sure. Be
Ah,
fun.
that's kind of cool. So right near me, not too far away from me, about a mile and a half, there's a race, the Tampa Bay Downs. I
Oh,
got,
horse racing track?
yeah. So I went there to see if I could get a part-time job as a jockey.
Sure.
They took one good look at me and said, "No, you don't qualify because you're too tall."
You got yourself a nice haircut, and I enjoyed the video of the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. That feels like yesterday. That was funny.
Oh, that was funny. That was back in 2018. I found that video the other day because I was looking through some old videos.
Time flies. That's unbelievable.
And that's
And
something.
then you
Wow.
called me out by name, and I'm like, all right, I'm sure mine is out there because I responded to your challenge and acted accordingly.
Yeah, but people don't do that anymore, do they? It was kind of an interesting thing for a while.
No, that exploded on Facebook for, I don't know, 8 or 10 months. Man.
Yeah,
And then, like most things, it flamed itself out, but had some awareness.
that was good. They raised some money for that good thing. It was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's been happening? We've missed a week or two. So what's been happening with you? What's new?
Oh, usual stuff here, just doing my thing.
Usual stuff. I had I did a presentation in my speaking biz for a bank, local bank here. My second time doing it, but this is the first time I was live. So it feels like we're turning a corner on this COVID quarantine thing and people are getting together for things. And so I was doing a 1 hour workshop, basically a kind of a mindset presentation I put together, and I was pretty psyched about it. I updated my PowerPoint, I had some fun there, and it went great. I had a videographer there who was taking a bunch of video and getting some testimonials from the audience afterwards, and we're working on editing all that down and getting on my website. But it was a fun time. It was at a public space, so there was the bank was the client, but it was at a center building, so anybody can show up. And I was able to invite a few important people in my life to see this. And it was in the cafeteria to see. So I get there at 12 for a 1 o'clock start to kind of get set up. And I got a screen and a projector, and the cafeteria is full of all these people at the senior center having lunch. And
Yeah.
so they kind of started to clear out, and I started organizing where I'm going to be because I kind of picked my spot. And I got a screen set up. My videographer, Dan, showed up, a tremendous friend who's helped me out big way. But I'm about 10 minutes into this presentation, and the swinging doors in the cafeteria, people walking around the senior center. This old guy walks in, sees something going on, says, "I'll just walk in." So he walked in kind of a back door, didn't disrupt anything. But he sat down at this back table, and Lynn was at another back table, kind of. And it's funny, Lynn and I started a friendship, 17 years ago. And she really only knew me as the guy in front of the room talking, mostly at B&I meetings at the time. So she's like, "I haven't heard you present in a long time. This is going to be fun." So this old guy walks in, jeans. Remember those? He's got a Red Sox jacket that snaps up the front. Remember those old jackets? He's got one of those on. And he sits down and pulls out a pad of paper and starts taking notes.
Oh,
And when I was done, we had some nice conversation afterwards. And I said, "I got a favor to ask. I'm putting together some video from my website. And if you were so motivated or inspired today, if you'd like to stand up in front of the camera and say some nice things, I would love that." And like 4 people raised their hands. He was the first one to jump up in front of the camera. So it was a lot of fun. Some of the comments I got out, because this is all about mindset and how you think affects everything, and the importance of believing in ourselves, and how naturally we're kind of ingrained in our DNA to kind of be negative, not negative, but in terms of like, always thinking worst case scenario is what kept us alive hundreds of thousands of years ago. And we still kind of carry that with us. and we're in charge of our thoughts if we take on that responsibility. So a few of the people started talking about how this is going to be taught in schools and all this stuff. And I was just standing back at the end of this, watching all this kind of transpire. And I had this funny, like, emotion, realizing like this message is way bigger than me. And it was really a fun moment. So I got some great feedback there, and we're continuing to plow forward.
Nice. Very nice.
It was fun. It was fun.
So today, since yesterday, my in-laws, I'm meeting my son Eric in Lisbon, Portugal, and 3 of his cousins.
Mm.
And Joshua just came down from Norway to get together with him.
Wow.
That's so cool, isn't it?
And are they with you in Florida? Where are they?
No, they're in Lisbon, Portugal.
In Portugal.
And then from there, they're going to go to Paris.
The whole group? My goodness.
Yeah. And
That's
Eric just got
awesome.
back from 2 weeks of being in Colombia. That guy's traveling everywhere.
These crazy kids.
So I was showing somebody a picture yesterday, and I think I'm going to show it to you probably. My son Eric has a lot of tattoos.
Your son does?
Yeah, he has tattoos all over his arms. Got I mean, so some of them real, how they do the sleeve and stuff.
The new generation, I do know.
One day I was talking to him on the phone. He says, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to go get another." He lived in Phoenix at the time. He goes, "I'm going to get another tattoo." I says, "Come on, Eric, you got enough tattoos. You don't need any more." He goes, "Come on, Dad, when are you going to get one?" I said, "I've never been inspired to get a tattoo, but if I do, I'll get one. But I just never have been." He goes, "It's a different generation. Everybody has tattoos." I said, "I don't, and I have never been inspired to get one."
Right.
Because I'm talking to him, I drove by this place with a bunch of different businesses.
Yeah.
And they had like a marquee outside listing the businesses. And I said, "Hey, I can't talk to you anymore. I just got some inspiration. I'll call you later." Right? So I went over and took a picture of this. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like different businesses there.
Yeah. Poblano's Grill, Dunkin' Donuts, yeah.
What's underneath the Dunkin' Donuts?
Oh, I see a face. I see some eyes I recognize and a fancy
No,
haircut.
but what's the word on the Dunkin' Donuts?
Under Dunkin' Donuts, it says, move your phone around a little bit. Oh, tattoo.
Yeah. So
Dunkin' Donuts tattoo.
So I came home and I told my son Josh to take a picture of my arm as if I was gonna get, if I had a tattoo. He goes, "What's that for?" I said, "Just do it." So he did. So then I called my son Eric back and I said, "Hey, I got a tattoo, man. Here it is." Oh, you probably can't see it. No, you can't.
Hold it up. Oh, there it is. I can kind of see it. There it is.
It's a Dunkin' Donuts tattoo.
Because the sign told you to.
So he said, "You're crazy, Dad." I said, "No, I'm not crazy. I got inspiration to get a tattoo of Dunkin' Donuts." He says, "That's not a tattoo." I says, "Yes, it is." He says, "You couldn't get a tattoo that fast." I says, "Well, they do it faster here in Florida."
They had an overstock of pink and orange ink, so they let me jump in front of the line.
So I used to stop at that Dunkin' Donuts to get a coffee on the way to work. One day I went inside and I was talking to the guy, and I says, "Hey, are you the owner of this place?" He goes, "No, I'm the manager." I says, "Listen, I got to tell you a little story." And I told him the story, and I showed him the tattoo, on the photo. He says, "Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, how'd you come up with that?" I says, "I don't know. I saw the sign out there." He says, "Well, that makes sense." And then he gave me the coffee and a bagel, no charge that day. Huh?
I imagine you can walk in and just raise that sleeve, get a free coffee anytime you want now.
Yeah, but I don't have it
back on.
I don't have it there. I just have it on a photo. I photoshopped it.
Oh, that's so funny. So your Dunkin's guy, this was the manager, not the owner. I've got an interesting story about customer service from an employee perspective versus a business owner. This is a crazy story. I almost put this on Facebook because I was just so amazed by what happened. So a week from today, as you know, my daughter's getting married next Saturday, which we'll talk about either separately from this story or the next time we do this, because it's very exciting. But I need to get a black suit for the wedding, and a white shirt, and there's a tie provided. And so I need this black suit. I got a black suit, but I needed another black suit for this one. It was been on my to-do list for like weeks. You know how you have the to-do list? I make one every single day, and I just move it forward every time, and moved it weeks and weeks. And finally, this Wednesday, I said, like, all right, I'm coming. I got to get a suit. And I was going out to Western Mass for some work appointments, which is an hour and a half away. And I was having this morning home office time. I'm like, all right, I got an extra 20 minutes. Let me stop at the mall on my way right to the Mass Pike and walk into Men's Warehouse. You know Men's Warehouse. It's kind of I don't know how big a chain it is, but they got a lot of clothing stores and malls. And
Yeah, I know them, yeah.
I've had some good experiences there in the past. So I walked into the Auburn Mall, and big active mall, huge hallways, there's all the, I didn't see any vacant storefronts. And here's the Men's Warehouse, huge opening. I mean, there's no doors or glass, just open, walk right in, huge, gotta be a 3,000 square foot box, this store, and clothes, it's gorgeous. And so there's these theater ropes that kind of bring you down to the middle, and there's a little podium thing with a handwritten note, and it says something about, due to something or other, you have to have an appointment to come into our store. And this is about 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. And so I look at the counter, there's nobody there. I look to the back, I can't see a soul in this entire store. But I do see a rack of like black suits. I go, well, let me just walk in and start to look at some sizes. And if there's something there, I can make an appointment, whatever I'll do. So I walk in. I'm looking at these suit sizes and some prices. And this woman walks out of the back. First thing she says is, I'm sorry, sir, you'll have to leave. I said, really? And she goes, yeah, the sign. I go, oh, I read the sign. What's up with that? And she's like, well, you need an appointment. I said, why is that? And she says, well, there's only 2 of us here today. And she references her coworker who also goes walking back. So I'm talking to her. I see this other guy. There's only 2 of us here today. Need an appointment. And I look around this entire store and I said, but there's nobody here. And she says, I'm sorry, you got to leave.
Wow.
I said, can I make an appointment right now? Because there's nobody here. She says, no. And I'm like, that sounds, and it was funny because in my mind, I was kind of going like, this is bizarre. It was so bizarre. I wasn't angry. I just was like in wonderment. And so I finally said to her, that seems so strange to me. And she goes, I'm sorry. I go, okay, I'm happy to go elsewhere. So I turned to walk out. And as I'm walking up to her, I'm still in the front of the store before you kind of cross over into the big mall. And this guy's walking in, a little older than me. And I said to him, sir, do you have an appointment today? And he says, no, I don't. And I said, oh, you have to leave with me. They don't want us. Oh, he says, what? I go, yeah, the sign, you have to have an appointment. There's only 2 people working. We can't overwork them. There's nobody here yet, but they can't talk to us and they don't want us. So he says to me, I have to outfit 4 groomsmen for a wedding. And I said, I wouldn't do it here. He said, I guess not. So now we're walking up towards the front of the store. Meanwhile, she's hearing the whole conversation. And so he says, I was going to go to Bonardi, B-O-N-A-R-D-I, Bonardi. And I know that name. I didn't know there was an Auburn location, but there's one in Worcester right on Highland Avenue. And I always thought Bonardi was like a tux rental only wedding thing. I go, well, I would go there if I were you. They're phenomenal. That's what they do. That's their business. And he goes, okay. So we walked out together. I took my 1 suit with me. He took his 5 suits with him and we left. And I was just like, wow, I couldn't believe it. So the next day, I got a little bit of time and I go into Bonardi on Highland Avenue. I got talking to Lynn the night before. And my thought was, I said to her, I don't really want another black suit, especially if I'm out speaking. I'm not going to be wearing black suits. I'd rather rent a suit for $150 and just be done with it.
Yeah.
I go into Bonardi to see if they do that. There's a few people. There's a couple of teenagers. I'm forgetting it's the first week in May, so it's prom season. A couple of teenagers, obviously seniors with their moms doing their thing. And I'm looking around, and I do see a sign that says we rent suits, not just tuxes. So finally, this nice woman comes up to me and says, how can I help you? I said, I need to rent a black suit. And she goes, and she looks at me, all right, she kind of guesses the size. I kind of confirm a size, and she walks out with this suit. And I put the jacket on, and it was perfect. And she's like, wow, that's perfect. And she says, I can sell you that suit for $275. And I'm like, well, how much is the rental? And she says, $200. I said, how am I not buying a suit for $275? She goes, I don't know. Try the pants on. So I go try the pants on, and she's got to alter those, and she's writing with the chalk. There's no cost for that, no charge for the tailoring. And I'm like, wow. I said, this is for next week. Can I get it? And she's like, no problem. And I said, do you have any button-down white shirts? I thought she was going to say no, because it's all like fancy tuxes and stuff. And she goes, yeah. And she pulls the bag out, the bags that shirts come in, and she opens it up and she takes the pins out and unfolds it. and says, feel this Turkish, whatever, cotton, how soft. I'm like, wow, that's nice. Go try it. So go try the shirt on. It's wrinkled like crazy because the packaging and the Turkish cotton, but it fit perfect. So I come out and she's like, that's perfect. And I go, yeah, I forgot about all this wrinkle. She goes, I'll press it for you. And I'm like, well, how much for the shirt? And she gives me a really good deal marked off from what it was. I go, you got a deal. This is when I said, you must be the owner. And she goes, I am. I go, I can tell by how hard you work and I appreciate everything you're doing. I said, I got a story for you. Men's Warehouse. And she rolls her eyes like she's heard it all before. And so I told her the story. I said, did a guy come in yesterday and need a new Ford groomsman for an October wedding? She said, he called me yesterday. I said, I was the one who sent him here. Oh my God. So the difference to me of employees who could care less, they're going to get paid the same money per hour, whether they sell anything or not, and the owner of a business who's bending over to backwards to make somebody happy and develop a great reputation. And here I am, they're phenomenal. Benardi on Highland Avenue, Worcester. And I'm psyched to have a relationship with a business owner who's in the clothing business, which I love, that's walking distance from my house.
After this, I'm going to send an email to Men's Warehouse and tell them that we don't want them to be our endorsement anymore.
In fact, you don't know this, I didn't share this with you yet. So, but the revenue department for the No Hissy Fit Zone contacted me this week saying, hey, we have an unsolicited donation and they want to be a sponsor. And it was Men's Warehouse. I've already told them to reject it and send it back.
No, okay, so yeah, we don't need that.
No, no.
No.
Benardi though, aha.
Aha.
Oh, him on this. One better. There we go.
Look at that, huh?
How's that?
Nice.
That's a sponsorship right there.
Perfect sponsorship, yeah.
Customer service, where's it going? Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
I'm going to see Gina this Thursday because I'm picking up my stuff. And I will tell her about, what is this, episode 27?
27, yeah. So
I'll tell her.
I was talking to my cousin this week, years ago, back in the 70s. You know, we just recently had a car for the first time. So we drive up and down Main Street, Hudson, Mass, off, back and down, then we go to Marlboro, do the same thing.
Cruising the strip.
And my cousin had a 6-pack of beer in the car for some reason. I don't know why, but anyway.
It was the 70s, of course he did.
And he had one open.
Sure.
So we're in Marlboro, Main Street, Marlboro, and I saw that's by one of a car that was a friend of mine that was parked on the side of the road. So I backed up a little bit, and we're right next to him talking, and my cousin rolled down the window, so I was talking to him. Of course, I wasn't double parked, but I was stopped on the main lane, right? So a police car got behind me and he hit the light, the thing, right? I said, oh shoot. So then I pulled up in front of my guy and I parked in the parking side of it. And my cousin got nervous and he opened the door when I stopped and he put the beer bottle on the ground. But when he did that, it fell and rolled into the curb. So the policeman heard it, of course. So he comes over and he says, hey, how you guys doing? I says, oh, good. He says, you're blocking traffic. I said, I know, I'm sorry, sir. He says, give me your license and registration. So I gave it to him. He looked at my license and said, Cabral from Hudson. Are you related to the chief? The police chief in Hudson was Alfred Cabral at the time.
And you said, of course.
I said, well, sir, it all depends. If it helps me, he's my uncle. If it's not going to help me, I don't know the butthead. I don't know him. It's not going to help me. So the cop did what you're doing. He started laughing, right? So then he said, so what's the deal with the beer? I says, well, my cousin, he opened one up. I told him not to. He says, well, you got to give me those. We got to empty that out, and you can't be drinking beer in the car. Today they'd take you in, but back then.
You get hung or shot at dawn tomorrow for that today. But yeah.
And I think because I made him laugh with my.
Of course.
He's my uncle. If it's going to help me, he's my uncle. But if it's not going to help me, I'm not going to say what I said, but I said something like.
I know the SOB.
Yeah. Something different than SOB. And he's laughing like you are. So I think that's what got me off. But anyway, it was funny.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, I got a big couple of weeks coming up here.
Do you?
Also, well, my daughter gets married next Saturday. Oh, so let me finish the Benardi story. So now I'm all set with my suit and my shirt. I gotta go figure out a tie somewhere. That's easy. But I'm trying to buy pants and a shirt for my son. And we're kind of guessing its size. I'm like, you have a pair of pants like this size? She's like, I'm out of those, but I'll have more next week. She's like, bring them in next week. I'll take care of it. I'm like, I got a small window. He flies in Wednesday night. We can be here Thursday, but then we're leaving Friday. She's like, I got it, no problem. And I'm like, man, service is incredible. So
awesome, yeah.
Zach is flying in. Zach's in the golf business, as you know. He just did his last round of golf Thursday over in Lakeland, right near you. And he left on Friday, got in his car. He's going out to Colorado for his next golf gig for the next 6 months. Then he stopped in Atlanta last night with some good friends of his he grew up with. And he's heading out to Colorado. He's going to get settled for a day or two, and then he flies into Boston next Wednesday. So next Saturday is the wedding. Friday is the rehearsal dinner. I mean, it's going to be a ton of fun. I got cousins coming from New Jersey. I got friends and family coming up from Florida. So it's exciting. And then I think that Saturday, I was talking to my contractor. I'm kind of doing over this kitchen and bath that you're looking at. This won't look anything like this in 8 weeks, but he says, we're starting on 8 days. I'm like, oh, right. So this is going to get ripped apart and down. He'll be here a couple of months. And then this keeps getting closer, but on June 9th, which is like a month from now, I'm having that knee surgery we've been talking about forever, or knee replacement surgery. So I'm ready. I'm excited. I've been bone on bone for years, and a lot of pain and discomfort. And I'll be home the day of and walking that day and rehabbing it. So I'm looking forward to that.
And so Linda got all settled in too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Linda got all settled in?
Yeah, so Linda so my ex-wife bought a house up in New Hampshire. She's been living up there. And then this is a great story. She had all her stuff in a storage unit. And so I went up to help her move everything from the storage unit into her new home.
Yeah.
This was last Saturday. So she closed on the house on Friday. But when I got to the storage unit, she had 12 people there, all there to help. And so by probably about 9:30, we started. And there was one guy, I just met this guy, his name is Chris. And he was like the engineer. So he's in the truck and he's like it was unbelievable, packing everything up. We had more than enough room. 9:30 we started. We packed the truck. The storage unit was like the size of like a one-car garage. It was pretty full. It all got in the truck. We all headed down to her new house. It was 20 or 30 minutes away. We backed into the driveway. We lowered the ramp. And we just didn't empty the truck into the garage. We emptied the truck like that goes in the living room, that goes in the kitchen, that goes in the office. We had carpets rolled out with beds on them in the bedrooms, like emptied and done. It was 11:30.
Wow.
Crazy. And I kept on saying, like, many hands make light work. It was phenomenal. So 4 of them left pretty quick, and she took 8 of us out to lunch, the local burger franchise. And I was back home in Worcester at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was amazing.
Wow. So what happened? She didn't like Florida?
She didn't like Florida as much as she liked being near our daughter, who owns a home in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
It's a matter of what you like most or least, I suppose.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good thing to like the family better.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty great, I mean, I've always admired people who can pick up and start. My friend Bennett and his wife Marie have done this 4 or 5 times, and they just pick up and move somewhere else and start over. I'm like, wow. And I've just been, I don't know, I think it takes a lot of courage to go do that. Amazing.
Yeah, I've done it a few times.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
You have. Interesting.
So I got to tell you a story.
I'm ready.
A friend of mine had passed away already, but one time he called me up and says, hey, Tony, I'm supposed to go to this presentation for some kind of nutrition product that comes out of red rice or something. It's supposed to be awesome, and I'm supposed to go to this presentation, but it's at the country club, and I don't like to go to those things alone. You want to go with me? I said, oh, sure, I'll go with you. So we go, and he drives over there, I drive over there, we meet there, and we listened to the presentation. The doctor, there was a doctor that was presenting, and it was really good. It sounded awesome. I noticed that the room next to the side of the room on this side had no chairs, they're all up against the wall.
Yeah.
There was blankets and pillows on the floor. So I knew it was coming. But my friend Roger didn't know it was coming. So after the presentation, I went up to her and said, man, this was an awesome presentation. You did a great job. I really appreciated all your knowledge and stuff. She goes, yeah, you guys going to stick around? I says, no, I got to go. She goes, Oh no, we're gonna do the hypnosis session, whatever. And Roger looked at me and I says, yeah, I know, but we didn't bring a pillow and a blanket. Then number one, number two, we're not the kind of guys that want to sit on the floor, if you know what I mean. And says, yeah, but this is important. I says, well, here's my problem, to be honest with you, man. I cannot be hypnotized. She goes, well, yeah, everybody can. I says, no, I used to be able to get hypnotized real easily. And I always did stupid stuff when that happened. So after a while, I went to three different hypnotists that hypnotized me to not be hypnotizable. She goes, I never heard of that. I says, yeah, it works. Right now, I can't be hypnotized anymore because of those three hypnotists, what they did. She goes, I've never heard that. I says, yeah, it's true. She goes, wow. So I said, Roger, I'm leaving. You need a ride? He goes, yeah, but his car was outside. He goes, yeah, I need a ride. Let's go. So we walk out. We're walking. He goes, what was that thing about the hypnotist thing? I says, well, it's total bullshit. I just came up with an excuse why I didn't want to stay.
I was hypnotized not to be hypnotizable.
I've been hypnotized to not be hypnotizable anymore.
Oh my goodness.
And the lady, she fell for it. It was amazing. She says, I never heard of this. I says, well, yeah, I had to do it because every time I get hypnotized, I do some stupid stuff, and I can't do that anymore. So I had to get hypnotized to not be hypnotizable anymore.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Too funny, huh?
I was just thinking about, and I was making a mental list this week about the upcoming concert season that I already have tickets to and confirmed to go. I got a lot of cool stuff going on coming up.
That's good.
In my knee recovery. So the Keepa surprised me with, I say that because it's no longer a surprise because it's better to be expectant. But as you know, and I became a gigantic Beatles fan during the quarantine. Like I always knew like the hits, but like I'm in deep as a Beatles fan now. And so June 3rd is a Friday. We're going to see Ringo Starr and the All-Star Band right here in Worcester at the Hanover Theater.
Wow.
That's on a Friday. The following Tuesday, the 7th, she and I are going to see Paul McCartney at Fenway Park. So we're seeing two Beatles inside of 4 days. And she actually we have some ups like, VIP rooftop experience party before the McCartney show. Going to be amazing. 2 days after that is my knee surgery. And then my buddy John, who helped me plant trees 2 weeks ago, said, I just got some tickets. R&B, funk, George Clinton and the Pimps of Joytown. I think phenomenal.
Wow.
You know them?
Yeah, so one time, not to cut you up, but in St. Pete, there was a building, it was like a historic building that they're going to be tearing down. So some people got all upset about it. So they got a bunch of people that got together and they had a concert to save the building.
Wow.
And George Clinton was the one that was there doing it.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
this is a Sunday afternoon. I think it's Father's Day. I want to say it's like the 19th. Sunday is. And it's an outdoor concert in Worcester between the DCU Center and the Palladium. I know the big parking lot. And I'm going to be about 9 days out of surgery. So I'll be there with crutches on and having a great time. But I'm psyched about that.
Put on a good show.
And then I had gotten tickets for Extreme up at Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
With Lynn and our dear friends. Dave and Pam, I told you that story. That's fun. And then out of nowhere, my buddy Ron, I'm going to see Tesla also. Tesla's a Sunday night, July 31st, down at Webster Lake, Indian Ranch. And Ron and I have seen them. I forgot this. I texted Ron because I had 2 tickets. I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you like Tesla? And he texted me right back. He said, they got to be an 8.5. That guy's voice is incredible the last time we saw them. I'm like, oh, I forgot we saw it was like years ago. So this is a crazy story. When I met Ron, we got talking about music and his favorite band was Meatloaf. And I remember thinking, that is so odd. I mean, everyone knows Meatloaf. I don't know one person that's his favorite band. He says, I got all 17 albums. I'm like, who knew that Meatloaf had 17? And this is 20 years ago. So I'm like, wow. And he had gone to see Meatloaf one time, and there was a warm-up band that he got turned on to called the Screamin' Cheetah Wheelies. So he became, you ever heard of these guys?
No.
He became a big Screamin' Cheetah Wheelies fan, and then he brought me to see the Wheelies. This was a phenomenal 5-piece rock and blues. This guy has almost like a Bon Scott AC/DC voice with this really like soulful blues rock. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow.
And they did like 3 albums over, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. And we saw them a lot. We probably saw them 8 or 10 times. But it was very, low scale, not well known. I would talk to everybody about them. And then they broke up. And the lead singer kind of went in a different direction, got clean, got sober, said, I can't do that anymore. And I think there was a lot of heartbreak around that. But he started doing a solo career, phenomenal musician and singer, but the band was amazingly talented. So after I texted Ron about Tesla, he got back and said, the Wheelies are getting together for 4 shows. 2 in Nashville, they sold out in 2 minutes, and 2 in New York City. And I said, can you get tickets? He goes, I'm going to try. So he got them. So he and his wife, Lisa, and Lynn and I are headed down to New York City on Friday, I don't know, last Friday, 28th, and see the Screaming Cheetah Wheelies. This can be the last time. It's amazing. And I went back in their catalog this week just to get some fun and play some stuff. If you don't know them, Screaming Cheetah Wheelies, there's 3 or 4 CDs out. Start with the first one. The first song is called Shaking the Blues, and it's amazing. So I'm psyched about that. So I got a nice concert series ahead of me.
That's amazing. So that one thing with George Clinton, where there was doing a concert for the Save That Building.
Yeah.
After about an hour or so, it started raining, so they had to shut it down. And one of my friends has a buddy that owns a bar in St. Petersburg, Florida. So he called him up and says, hey, you got anything going on tonight? He says, no, not really. He says, you have room for a band to come in and play? Because we had a band. He told us, he didn't tell me who the band was. He says, we have a band, but they were playing, but it's to Save That Building in downtown. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, well, it's raining, so we got to do something. Can we, if they come over and want to set up over there and play some music for a couple hours, would you be okay with that? We're going to bring a bunch of people. He says, oh, yeah, sure. So
bring a bunch of people, yeah.
Show up and the equipment's coming in and stuff, and he's like, my buddy introduced me to the guy that owns the bar. He says, what the heck's going on here? He says, oh, you're not going to believe this. This is going to be the best show you've ever had at this bar. So George Clinton shows up with it. He goes, what in the world is going on?
So the bar owner had no idea who it was. He just said, yes, bring your people.
Yeah, because he had nobody, didn't have much going on and stuff. And then we showed up with a bunch of people awesome. with a band like that. And he was amazed. It was amazed. It was a great show. That guy, George Clinton, puts on a good show. Was it George Clinton?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's George Clinton and the Funkadelic, right?
What's that?
It's George Clinton and the Funkadelic. Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I wasn't that familiar. I just love that old R&B thing and the funk, and I mean, amazing. So I don't know it enough.
Yeah.
Might be a great concert. Outdoors too. Hot summer. I love it.
Yeah.
Summer's taking its time showing up. Even spring is. It's been nice. Flowers starting to bloom, but every day people are like, we need another 10 degrees. Like it's still 52 degrees all day, and people are running around in vests and jackets. And although we did hit 70 this week for a couple of hours. It's nice.
I remember up there, like after the summer. How do I want to say this? After the summer, if it goes down to the 50s, people are like, oh man, it's cold. Yeah. After the winter, if it goes up to the 50s, they're like, wow, this is awesome.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're coming into your hot season. You're coming out of your nice stuff. It's getting hot down there, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not bad. It's just saying it's normal.
Love it. Love it.
I've been down here for 30 years, right? Every day in the winter, the winter months.
Yeah.
When I walk outside of my house, and it's like January or something, or February, and it's 68 degrees, 72 degrees or something, I'm like, man, this is so cool. I still say it every day. It's amazing.
Good old Florida. You gotta love it.
Yeah, I love it, yeah.
How far are you from Lutz?
Oh, 20 minutes, not even.
My cousin was down in Lutz for 20 years and just moved back up to Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
Like in the past couple of months. He went down to Lutz with his wife for a job move. They said, we're going to do it for 5 years. And they looked at the calendar and said, oh my gosh, it's been 20. Let's do something. They went back to Pennsylvania. Funny.
It's interesting that you know how to pronounce Lutz, because not everybody does from
Well, I mispronounced it several times with him, and he's finally got it into my head. How far are you from Lutz?
Yeah, it's Lutz, Lutz.
Yeah, Lutz, Lutz. Who knew? My God. Well, here I am in central Massachusetts. We got our Worcesters and our Leo Ministers and our, Peabody up on the North Shore, and
Yeah,
you know our pronunciations.
I lived in Leominster.
Yes, you did.
I don't know if I ever told you the story when
Actually, it's Leo Minister. I think it was Leo Minister, right? Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if I ever told you the story. It's kind of interesting. When I bought the house over there in Leominster, there's only eight houses on the street that I bought the house at.
Was it Barnes Avenue, Barnes Road?
Barnes Street, yeah. Wow.
God, how it's crazy. It's all in there.
So the guy right next to me, I met him the day we moved in, and he's just an awesome dude, him and his wife and the kids. And he had a field next to his house, and he used to buy these old fire trucks, and then he refurbish them and sell them.
Wow.
And he's a great guy. So anyway, his son-in-law owned a Shell gas station with a little convenience store. So here's where the story gets funny. The following weekend after I moved in, some of my buddies were coming over to help me do a little painting or something, whatever it was. And I gave my buddy the address, and I gave him the direction. He goes, well, I should be able to find this. It's real easy. But if you get lost, just ask anybody you see where Tony lives, and they'll tell you. Which he thought of, of course, that's ridiculous for me to say because I've only been there for not even a week. So he couldn't find the street, so he goes to that gas station, the Shell gas station. And he says, hey, I'm looking for Barnes Street. Do you know what that is? And my neighbor happened to be there inside the store and heard that. He goes, oh, yeah, you looking for Tony? Because, the guy doesn't know. I was the only guy that was doing the street. He goes, yeah. So he said to me, you're not going to believe what happened. When we get to the house, he goes, I couldn't find the street, so I stopped off at the Shell station, and I was asking where Barnes Street was, and this one guy in there says, you're looking for Tony? I says, I told you. It was so funny.
There were 30,000 people, or whatever it was at the time. Boy,
that almost deserved this. Huh?
Oh my goodness. Well, I am going to have lunch with my niece and nephew because it's that kind of Saturday.
Yeah, that's good.
And then we got the Kentucky Derby event tonight, which